All right, I decided to start removing the tank real quick. I just wanted to show y'all, if y'all decide to do this, what you're up against. There's just an electrical plug right here. This little thing goes up underneath, and the plug sits like that, and that connects into it. And then you've got these two that I've plugged and covered. But these, I think some people say that these take a special tool, but all I did was I got a flathead and I pushed down on this. You push it in a little bit, and then it allows you to push down, and then you can push down while you pull, and it'll pop off of these fittings. And I covered that up just so that stuff wouldn't get in there. And then your filler neck and the vent for it is the same. I mean, not the same, but it's got little those worm clamps on it. I've covered this up, but what I need to do now is need to siphon out what's in here. I can't remember how much I had in here, but I picked up one of these, and it's just a hose with a ball in the end. Let's see if I can see. It's just a little glass ball, and you stick it down in the tank, and as you work it, it pulls fluid, and then the ball falls to stop the fluid from coming out. And once it peaks over the arch, it just sucks the fluid out. So I'm gonna try and do that and see how much I drain out. Maybe I don't have that much in there. There we go. Now it's draining. Oh, I might not have that much in here. I just got to keep doing this. Seems to be working. There we go. See, it's solid full. A line. Okay. I think I got it to where it's on its own right now. It's filling up pretty quick. That line's full. I don't know if you can hear it, but anyways. It takes a little while. You got to have the tank lower than, or your filler lower than the tank, and got about 4 gallons out now. It's fixing to hit 5, but you want it lower than your filler part, whatever you want to call it, the filler neck of it. Anyways. All right, so I got the fuel tank out, and what I did was, of course, I siphoned out as much as I could, which was about 5 gallons, and there's probably still 5 in there, so. But I didn't have any more room because I filled up my tractor, and then that's got some in it, so I probably got a little about 8 gallons out of it. But to get it down, you know, you got one strap that goes where that bolt is, and then another one where that bolt is. And so I put those that board on my jack, and I positioned it right in the middle of the tank, but between the 2 straps. But when I did that, because there was liquid, it was heavy on this end down here. So I just lowered it real slow, keeping a little bit of weight on this end until, of course, the jack bottomed out, which then it was probably still 10 inches off the ground. Then I just let this side drop and this side come up. And then I threw a strap around this side and threw it over the frame rail. That way I can hold it up while I just yanked the jack out from underneath it and then lowered it with the strap. But that's pretty much it. It didn't take too much to get this thing out. And then here's the sheet, or whatever you want to call it, the shield. So I need to clean that up and clean this tank up. I'll replace these. These are the vent lines, right? It just goes from one end over to this end, and then one of them has a little, it looks like a little cap. Let's see if I can find it. It's got like a little cap to help relieve pressure, I guess is what you could call it. But this stuff is just, I can grab it and pinch off the rubber stuff. So the metal one is still in the frame. I'll keep it and just use different, you know, it's just junk. I mean, if I can do that, you know, whatever. I'll tape those up too. But let me get underneath this thing and show you what all we have to take out before we cut the frame. All right, let's slide up underneath this thing. Okay, Ugh. Anyways, okay, so the straps came from under here, and they go right there's one, and there's the other strap. So I'm pretty much in the middle where the tank was, you know, where your filler neck and all that is. Here's our electrical plug. Here's those two. Your, I guess, sends the fuel, and then your return line. I think, I'm guessing. Oh, here's that cap I was telling you about. I think that's what the this vent line goes. You can follow it. It turns to metal, keeps going, comes up, and then there's the other side where it broke off. So that's all it does, is it connects. So we'll keep the metal piece out, and just put new ones on there. So this is everything I've got to take off to cut this frame. We've got, starting back here. Okay, so this is the vent. That's going to be easy to pull out. This goes to the rear brakes, and if we follow it, it goes up to that junction right there. So I need to find something I can undo that and plug it with so the fluid don't all drain out. And then of course the wiring is next. So yeah, vent, brake, wiring. So then we come and we get to here, those two fuel lines, and then we just keep traveling, and it's the same stuff. These two are your fuel lines. Here's that vent, so it stops. So we still got brakes, which all this is going to go away because I'm shortening the frame, so I'm going to have to get single cab lines for everything. And it just keeps on going, and it goes until the fuel filter, which is mounted on the frame. So I'll take it all the way off. I'll take it all the way off up until that point. That'll give me enough room to cut what I need to cut. Then once I put it all back together, of course the wiring harness, this will be way too long. So somewhere around after the sending unit, it's tail lights, trailer lights, and I'll just have to, I haven't decided if I'm gonna cut and redo them all or just curl them up in the frame and zip tie them. I haven't decided yet, which the right thing to do is just make a new harness. But yeah, I've already started to take these clips off. These clips kind of just, they fit down in that groove, and you can pry that, and this comes up. So there's the wiring harness up, and then I'll get the other stuff undone, and have this, at least the rear part of the frame, stripped up until, you know, that filter and transfer case. And then once I do that, I can measure for where I want to cut. Okay, one more thing before I start cleaning on this tank, right? I'm not gonna pressure wash it. I'm just gonna hose it and scrub it. It's just got a lot of dirt and stuff on it, and it bothers me. Some of y'all might be wondering why the floor is not under the cab, and I'm filming this stuff to help out anybody else who wants to do it. And I think that by doing the floor first, or trying to fit the floor first, kind of screwed me up. And I'll explain why. I should have fit the dash first in the cab where I wanted it, and then fit the floor or the firewall to it because of the air conditioning. Now I'm trying to keep all that intact, and so when I mount this, let me get this mounted. Okay, so when I mount this, the defrost is right up against the firewall of the 05 Super Duty, and then of course that goes to the vent. So when you swap the defrost, goes up, vent comes in here through that box. So when I hooked this up and dropped the cab on it to try to, when I mated the floor together, that defrost vent going up was hitting the bottom of the cab, and I knew it wasn't gonna work. The dash wasn't gonna line up. It wasn't pushed enough against the firewall. So I took the cab off. I didn't cut the floor back out. I just had it spotted and clamped in. So I just undid it, lifted it off, and I fitted the dash first. Now the dash is in. It's secure right now. I've got this, I had to strap it and crank it to get it closed because I wanted to get this gap. As you can see on the bottom, it's closed. The top's got a little bit of one, but the rubber seal will be there, and I'll figure something out right there. But I cut a lot of the dash off because I wanted it sucked up as close as I could get to give me leg room. I'm 6'1", and this truck was a single cab, and it was tough for me to sit in it. So I wanted it sucked up as tight as I could get it. And what I had to do was I had to cut a lot off of this truck, off the dash. And right now I don't look pretty. I mean, you can see where it's sitting on the lip. And I cut, as you can see, the defrost vents are out. I cut the defrost vents out, and I took the defrost, I guess you could say the distribution thing. I'll show it to you in a minute, but I wanted to get it as further away as I could to give me leg room up underneath the steering wheel, and just so that the sides would match up. And the sides match up pretty good. I mean, this is this side. Yeah, I scratched all this up. I had to do it by myself. It was tough. But I mean, once I put this cover on, it'll hide that, and I'll just try to sand this down and reshoot it with some gray. I decided just to leave the gray one in, not try a tan one for now. Just because it's really, I'm not painting the truck. I'm just going to leave it all beat up. That really doesn't matter. But I mean, that's, if I get in it and I'm sitting about right here, the steering wheel, and then I got pedals and stuff somewhere around there. It looks closer because I'm sitting, but I'm 6'1". I fit comfortably in here. I think it'll work for right now. But I should have did this first. That way, when I lower the cab on top of the floor, and right now, here, let me just show you real quick what I did. So here's some of it that I cut out, the defrost vents. Here's the black piece that goes up underneath. It goes and blows out of your vents, right? So it'll go up underneath here, but of course it would have stuck out too far. So taking that off, moving the dash up, let me grab this piece. Okay, I'm gonna try to do this. So that's where it goes to your air conditioner vents in the truck. Here we are, that's air conditioner, that's defrost. So now the defrost don't have a place to go. We don't have vents to go out the top. But if we, man, I need a light. Stand by. Let's see if this works. Okay, see? That's where the AC goes to the vent. And there's your defrost. See, there wouldn't have been enough room. So, and then if you look at this, see the firewall, that's going to mount to the firewall. It's going to line up. It'll line up. But I'm sacrificing my defrost, which to me is not a big deal. They have stuff you can put on the inside of the windshield that doesn't fog up, or as you can see, I still have those little things. So yeah, it'll blow out of it'll blow out of that top hole, mainly just come through the center one. That's fine. I just wanted it sucked up against there as close as I could get. That way it gives me enough leg room, and the AC box will line up with the firewall. That was the main concern, is if I'm doing all this to keep the AC, what's losing the defrost? That really doesn't bother me. But I just wanted to show some of y'all, in case y'all run across this, doing the dash first, getting it sucked up as close as you can to where those sides match, and then, putting your AC box up underneath it and eyeballing that to where it looks like it's going to be flush with a firewall. It'll help out in the long run. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I could have just mounted the floor and then screwed with this, but this was easier to put in with no floor in the cab. I was actually able to tilt the cab forward like that, and then I was able to get in it and drop the dash right on top and just lift it up, cut, drop it, lift it up, cut. I probably spent 2 or 3 days just to get the dash to fit. And yeah, I cut off a lot, and if you look through, it does look ugly. I mean, you can see the metal that's supposed to be covered. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to treat that metal, and then I'll just buy a cover, like a, I don't know, velvet or suede, I don't know, something to cover the dash with to hide that, or just leave it because it really doesn't bother me. But I got it, you know, and of course there's going to be these gaps on the side because the Super Duty, it cuts in. The old Ford, it just, you know, it was like that. And I still have the pieces that'll go here from the original 86. So yeah, there'll still be a hole right there. So I'll probably just get a cover, trim it to go around and hide this hole, and trim it to, you know, hide the holes in the dash. But I mean, it's I think that if some of y'all watching are going to tackle this, you know, you can watch the other guy's video that's doing the crew cab. I think his name's Gary. I'll link his again. If you watch his, he does the dash first, then he lowers it on top. Everything lines up, and I think I should have done that first. But now that this is done, then now I can put the floor in there, AC box, make sure it all lines up, and go from there. Anyways, I appreciate it, guys. I hope this helps somebody. If you got any questions, just hit me up. Thanks.